Welcome to a Star Walking Inc. live stream. And today I'm joined by, well, I guess, because there's no one else joining me. So that's okay. What you're going to just have to listen to me talk to me and make jokes at my own expense. That'll be interesting. Let's get into it. What we're going to be looking at is the most recent 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord, and hoping that you've had a chance to watch them if you're going to be listening to this. If not, you should really get onto it. There's something that I heard today that if you haven't got Disney Plus and you just happen to be watching this right now and haven't had a chance to watch the series, the first episode is actually out on YouTube. So you can get over there and have a look at it if you don't have Disney Plus, which is great, particularly for people who, don't subscribe. So yes, on YouTube, you can at least watch the first episode. It won't give you up to speed about what we're going to be talking about today. However, at least it'll get you started. So, and then you can go back maybe and watch some of our earlier YouTube things. If you're joining us today live, can you just pop in the chat, let us know that you're here, because that would be great. Gives me someone to talk to and I know who's watching along with me. That would be fantastic. And otherwise, let's get into it. I didn't do a rundown piece by piece. I thought we would just look at a little bit of some of the things that have happened and a little bit about characters today. So let's get to it. We have, let me pull up my screen. Try spinning. That's a cool trick. I don't know if you all noticed, but the first thing that, one of the first things we see in part of the episode was Maul do the spin move that we've seen Palpatine do, which is pretty cool and slightly unexpected. So that was fairly awesome. That was a great start to one of the episodes, which can't complain about that, can you? I did read up on a comment by someone, and this was something that I'd really like to debate with people, is how much is Maul like Palpatine? Is he his own person, or do you think he's just like a clone of Palpatine? I think I'm about to be joined by Paul. Let's see what Paul thinks. See if I can bring him into the studio. And welcome, Neil.
Good evening.
Hello, Paul. You're slightly not so punctual today.
I got here as quick as I could.
That's fine. So what I was just saying is the concept of Maul trying to be an individual and being his own person, but really is he just a clone of Palpatine? I was doing some reading, and this is something someone had written. I'll read it to you. One observation I've made so far is that Maul is basically Sidious Jr. Okay, bear with me. He intentionally left his lightsaber out for Devon, like Sidious does for Luke in Return of the Jedi. We left it there to see whether or not he would take it. He pits the syndicates against each other, just like Palpatine did with the Clone Wars. And he's trying to seduce Devon to the dark side like Sidious did to Anakin. And he's shown mastery over all 7 saber forms. And Sidious knew these, and we saw him do the spinning move. He's Palpatine Jr.
Well, they're all very good points. I mean, obviously, you could see how a lot of Palpatine's influence has probably rubbed off on him, because when you consider how long he's been under his control. So I imagine he's probably seen what works for Palpatine and what didn't work for Palpatine, and has probably thought, well, I see how that sort of thing works, and has obviously just relied on that himself. Yeah. So I would say I wouldn't necessarily say he's another Sidious, because I don't think Maul really.
Anyone is? Anyone a Sidious? Is there another?
I get this impression that Maul would never like to do to other people what he had done to him. So that's why I think he isn't really a Sidious in that
That's
respect.
a good point. And I realized when I said, is anyone a Sidious, lots of people are, because there were so many clones. But that's another story for another day. Somehow I returned. Thank you, Neil, for joining us. Just want to say that, yes, it's going to be all about these 2 episodes. And I don't know if you caught what I said earlier, which is that the first episode is now on YouTube. So if you don't have Disney Plus, you can pop over there and start watching at least the first episode. But Neil, we're also having at 8 o'clock tonight our online meetup. So we'll talk about everything but Maul if you wanted to pop off, not get spoiled. If you're happy to have spoilers, sure. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we will see you, because I know you're a member, so we'll see you at 8. Right, let's get back to Maul. What have I got? I wanted to talk about, let's get this first out of the way. 2 boots. I'm really struggling because I wanted to like the character because I like the actor. And I'm really struggling that even... Oh, I lost you. Whoops, sorry, Paul.
Ooh, I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm back.
That's what I get when I fiddle with the buttons. I can't like 2 boots still, even though after this 2 episodes he redeems himself on some level. He still follows the rules though. So the rules were you have to do it this way. The Empire didn't do it the right way, so therefore he's just doing his own. It kind of doesn't sit with me. And the writing of this character annoys me. I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree. I think he probably missed his calling. He probably should have been a protocol droid rather than someone who works for the police force, because he loves to follow protocol, and he could just he could just be like a battle droid and just say it's just the way I'm programmed. But and
then he goes. Sorry, go.
And then he goes all rogue and turns into like an assassin droid, like he's turned into a bounty hunter or something. It was all rather bizarre to see. But I thought, okay, if you're trying to redeem yourself, you're going the right way about it. But it's just his character is annoying, and unfortunately, that is a lot to do with the actor they've chosen. I mean, I love Richard Ayoade. I'll watch him in anything, but
me too.
It doesn't work. To me, it's just the way he's playing it is wrong. He's playing it like very. He's just very naive.
That's wrong.
It's just wrong. He's the wrong voice. He's the wrong actor for that character, I think. It was funny to see him without his boots on though, because you notice he's like one of those guys that wears socks on the beach. And then when he gets home and he takes his socks off and his feet are white and the rest of him's tan, because he hasn't had any sun on his feet. He's been wearing those boots for a while because his feet look brand new and the rest of him is all tarnished and beaten up. So he's had those boots on for quite some time.
First of all, welcome, Dean. Thank you for joining us. But I don't understand the purpose behind the boot thing, or why that's particular. Maybe that's to appeal to people who have that kind of humor. It doesn't appeal to my humor. Look, I'm not wearing boots now.
The interesting thing is that his actual robot name is
2 boots.
Well, it's 2 BUT or 2 BOT. So
yeah,
is that why they gave him the boots? Because his name sounded like 2 boots.
Maybe.
Any other reason? That's why give Chopper a big axe or something. Because
yeah. Oh yeah, Chopper earns his name. But I have to agree with Dean. I did laugh. I did also laugh really loudly when he said, "Riley, duck please." It was duck please. But I will grant the boot bit. No, but the duck please, yes, that did make me laugh. I was surprised it made me laugh.
He is respectful. He does respect. Yes.
Okay. I realized something while watching these last 2 episodes, and it's this. We touched on last time the LAATs, the LATs, or however else you want to call them, right? It dawned on me today that Hasbro released the LAATs recently. They, how they re-released it, and everyone was like, oh, why are you releasing that? We've got 1,000 of them already. There's this version, that version. We don't understand this. Do you think maybe it's because they knew they were going to be using these in Maul?
Well, obviously, I mean, the show was made many months ago, long before we've seen any of it. But when did the ship come out? Was it recent? Last couple of months or something?
Yeah. It was I think it was like last year.
Yeah. Does it look any different to the original Clone Wars versions?
I don't remember, but I was just to remember when
they've looked like they've been stripped back. They're very bland to look at, the new ones. They seem to lack a bit of color. The others used to have a bit of color on them, a bit like now how the new TX TX, is that what they call them? New stormtroopers are all white, whereas the old clone troopers had color, a bit of color in it. So I think maybe because they just look, it's sort of like that transition as we go into what we know as the Galactic Empire in the original trilogy. The ships had no color on them; they were just matte coloring. You know, like everything was just straight one color thing. There was no pattern.
Pristine and clean. No individuality.
All the paint work. It was only like maybe if Sabine got hold of one and started painting it up, but otherwise they stripped all the colors back.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of council paint. You know, when the council, particularly for
painting over graffiti,
supported housing, what they would do, particularly in the past, would be if the council needed to repaint houses, they would just get whatever paint was going cheap and was no longer in style as a color, and that would be they'd buy it in bulk, and then all of a sudden everyone would have like pink on their house, or they'd have brown on their house because that was the council color. I feel as though the Empire's got a big deal on white paint and went wild.
Yeah, either that or they just stripped all the paint that was off them already, and they just ran them like, I don't know, got out a big sand blaster or something and just blasted all the paint off them and went, nah, just stripping them back. Everything's getting stripped.
To Tatooine. That's why Tatooine is so important, because they take all of the ships and all the stormtroopers and they make them stand there on Tatooine and they wait for the big gust of sand to come along and just strip all the paint off. That's why.
That's right. Because I mean, they could have all been like covered in polka dots and stripes or something or other, and had flashy checkered patterns like they were wearing tartan or something, and then the sand just wipes it all away.
Yep, that's why. You're all wondering why we go back to Tatooine. That's why it's important.
Yeah.
That, or on the other side of the planet, there's this massive paint factory that sells white paint.
Probably, yes. There's probably some big deal going. Got a big discount on paint from somewhere. Maybe that was some deal they did with the Pikes or something. Or something. Oh, we've got this big warehouse full of paint. Something like that.
You thought they were smuggling spice. No. It was white paint.
No, just paint.
One of the things we've gone way off track.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the things that was noted to me was the difference between TK troopers and clone troopers on loyalty and brotherhood. There was a part in the episode where the lat driver, the pilot, was flying, and all the guys jumped off, and then they were getting shot at. So just gone. It's like, bye. Good luck.
Well, see, they're not clone brothers. They're not all. They don't come out of the same vat.
No.
They're all enlisted men, so they probably don't even know each other. I don't know. So
and do they? Because they would you know who's underneath your helmet?
Well,
the dude next to you.
At least we know from as far as I know, they only wear their helmets when they're actually in combat or on duty. So they probably would see each other's without their helmets on. But I don't know if they care enough, because they'll probably just go, well, they're all cannon fodder anyway. So that guy will probably be dead in 5 minutes, and they'll just get someone else to take his place. That's what being in the Empire is like. So they're probably never going to get to know anybody.
No, I never want to be a stormtrooper. But the other thing that was noted is they're still really bad at shooting. Not many of Maul's people got gunned. Well, if any, got gunned down. No one got gunned down. Actually, none.
No, not really.
Of all those stormtroopers, and they shot no one. It took a lightsaber to take someone out. They couldn't shoot them out. They're not even wearing well, the Mandalorians are. They're wearing armor. Yeah.
And it's not like you can. It's not like you can say, "Oh, you can blame the guns," because they weren't. They're not using the like we know as the original trilogy guns. They're using the old Clone Wars guns. So they don't even have that excuse. Maybe it's something to do with the new helmets. Maybe they can't see out of them very well. I don't know.
Maybe they just
clones were good, but these new helmets.
They're new. They've got these new helmets on. They can't find. They can't see. They've not had time to learn how to shoot straight. I don't know.
Well, Luke did say in A New Hope that he couldn't see out of the helmet. So, you know, he'd said it live. It's there on screen for all to hear. He said, I can't see a damn thing out of this helmet. So there you go.
Yeah, and he could shoot really well and fly really well, apparently.
Yeah, he had Jedi powers and everything. So
and still couldn't see.
Yep.
So we are introduced to our second Inquisitor. Well, number 11 anyway, not number 2.
That was interesting because as we saw from the end of episode 6 when Marok said, "My Lord," and he was talking to a hooded figure, you start questioning now, is that the hooded figure? Is he referring to the 11th brother? Which would be weird because Marok is the first brother. He's the 11th brother. Now, I don't know about if there's any ranking system but you'd think that Marok would outrank based on numbers, that he would be the highest ranking one considering he's the first. But I don't know if it works that way. I don't know how the numbering system works because I was just wondering if he was, because, another Inquisitor shows up to help him and it's not like you would expect if you contacted My Lord that he would be talking to Vader and then Vader would show up, but it wasn't. The Crow, the 11th Doctor, wrong show. The 11th brother turns up instead. So
well, it's the Crow, but yeah.
He is the Crow, yeah, but I called him the 11th Doctor, which is...
Oh, the 11th Doctor.
Doctor Who. It wasn't Matt Smith. Not Matt Smith.
I missed that.
We don't know who's under the mask. It could be. But, yeah, so I'm just wondering because it doesn't seem to make any sense that he would call him My Lord, but he is a cloaked figure, so, I don't know. Or maybe Vader just pointed at the 11th brother and said, you go. So there you go.
I'm kind of, Dean said, I think the hologram has sent the Crow as a reinforcement. I'm
so that's what I was thinking. He probably spoke to Vader, even though Vader doesn't wear a hood, which is the thing that confused me.
I still think it's Palpatine. We don't actually know. It doesn't give it, but I think it's Palpatine. And my rationale is because they've given it that Palpatine wants you gone, and he's given it, I can't remember what words that he used, but basically he was saying, well, I feel the same way. I think he was talking to Palpatine, and that's like similar to what Dean just said, that then 11th brother was sent as reinforcement. But I find it really interesting that you've got the first brother and the 11th brother both fighting Maul, but and he's injured and they still can't really best him. That just tells you what incredible skills he has.
It was quite a good fight, even though some of the jumping around didn't seem to make a great deal of sense at the time. The way they were they went, ha, fight, and then leaps across a thing and going, well, it's like Anakin saying, let's spin. That's a good idea. The old spinning trick. But, but it was a really good fight. I liked it. And Maul did hold his own pretty well, considering that knee was dodgy. And then the Crow goes and hits him in the hip as well. So it's even worse. And yet he still managed to fight his way out of it by crushing them all, by throwing rocks on them.
Oh, yes. So that scene, I think I have an image of just before that scene. This. So when I saw that, I was like, he's giving up? That doesn't seem very Maulish. What's that about? Well, what is going on here?
I knew when he did that he was buying time. I didn't know that he was going to do what he did, but I knew that there was no way he would ever surrender to them. But because as it was, they weren't going to take him in alive anyway. Because he knows he's public enemy number one on the Emperor's hit list. So there was no way they were ever going to do that. But I thought he's buying time, but I thought maybe reinforcements were going to help him or something or other. He had something worked out. But
just pulling rocks down.
Yeah, he just thought, this will work. It's worked before. And it did.
And you could see that they weren't going to die because just at the last second, they kind of start to run away. And you're like,
well, they're Sith.
So It's been an interesting ride, I think, with Maul, and I found a quote which I think kind of sums this up, which is, "I've never felt so sympathetic towards Maul in my life. It really shows the true nature of what he went through, tortured by Palpatine, betrayed, taken from his family and the life he knew. Add on to that the physical pain and actual disability he has to live with for the rest of his life. That physical pain with his legs breaking and empathy one feels makes you root for him during the fight with the Inquisitors. It doesn't excuse his actions, but you really start to emotionally feel for him and understand his quest for revenge towards Palpatine that comes from such a deep place in his heart." I thought that was just, I was like, yeah, that really sums it up, because that's how I feel about Maul at the moment. Is I've never really liked Maul because, well, he's awful. But at the same time, watching this, I go, oh, let him survive. Hope this will, oh, I know how he dies. I'm not dumb. I watch Rebels. But like, I know what the ending is, but just for now, you still go, oh no, that's terrible. Oh no, poor thing. I just want to hug him and make sure he's okay. And as the show goes, he'll do something, and you go, oh, look, he's done that. And then you see the snap, and then you go, ooh, there's a really rough undercurrent there. And then he goes back to nice mode again. He is so charming, it's scary. I don't know where I was going to go with that.
I have to say, I agree with Dean's comment. I do think that Maul's story is more tragic because Anakin just sort of fell into the job, didn't he? I mean, whereas even though Palpatine had been watching him since he was a 9-year-old, but he didn't actually do anything about it. He was sort of manipulating him on the sidelines and manipulating what was going on around him. But yeah, whereas Maul sort of fell into it very young and was, sort of went through that for a very long time, a lot longer than Anakin did, because Anakin became Darth Vader overnight, whereas Maul had been trained into it since he was a kid. So yeah, he suffered a lot more. And of course, not only that, but everything that's happened along with it as well. You know, what they did to him, killing his brother and killing his family and everything else that happened. Yeah, it's funny because when like I compare Maul as a Sith apprentice to the Inquisitors are worse because the Inquisitors used to be Jedi and became Sith.
Yeah.
He was never a Jedi in the first place. He was raised as an apprentice. So, if anything, the Inquisitors to me are far worse because they turned to the dark side.
They chose to.
Yeah, exactly. They
completely chose to. They had a choice to stick to being a Jedi, to stay. Well, basically, they selfishly saved themselves to start. The first thing they did was save themselves by going, you know what? I am a Jedi. I don't want to die, so I'm gonna turn and do what they want me to do. And what they want me to do is kill other Jedi who I know, who I would have been at the temple with, who I understand are going to be defensive and not going to attack. I know their weaknesses. I know their strengths. And I'm still going to do that, and I'm still going to murder them. You're a piece of shit. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't use language. But like, it's just like what kind of person?
Yeah. And of course we got that whole thing when Maul was doing his struggle through the tunnel there with all the wind hitting him in the face, and he basically told the whole backstory of it. And it's just like, yeah, you're thinking, how's the guy even standing? I mean, the only reason he's still alive is just because of his absolute hatred for Sidious. It's the only thing keeping him around.
So that was what one of my questions was going to be. Do you think Maul hates most Sidious, Kenobi, or himself?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit in everything there. I think he definitely hates himself. You can tell that. He definitely hates himself. And I think it's because when he looks back at all the opportunities he probably had to not do the things he did, that's why he hates himself. But I mean, when you're stuck in that cycle, I mean, once you become a Sith apprentice, I mean, how do you get out of that without actually being killed or killing yourself? I mean, how do you get away from it?
Reminds me a little bit of people in our world that get involved in games, that you get yourself into it, and you know that while you don't realize, I suppose, from the outside, how insidious it is to be part of it. And then when you're in it, you realize that the only way you're going to get out is by doing something that is going to be completely at risk for you, or by dying. I don't know how you get out of being a Sith. I suppose Maul technically got out of it by pseudo dying.
Yeah.
But and I guess that's the only way. But the cost to his life, essentially, he died inside.
Yeah, yeah, and that was probably the biggest thing. He was more killed mentally than physically. What it's done to his, because as we saw, I mean, he was having a breakdown there when he was trying to haul his way back to his people. That was a full-on emotional turmoil he was going through there, and he was putting himself through it, you know. Yeah. But in a way, I don't know whether that was what he was using to drive himself to. Maybe that's what was pushing him, because the way the Sith mind works is that, you know, fear and anger and everything else is what keeps them their strength. So maybe he was tapping into that to give him the resilience to get back to where he needed to go to survive. One of those weird things about Sith. Definitely worked.
Yeah,
I think of it as, yeah.
Like as much as I'm more towards being a Jedi, I love peace among beings. However, you have to, and I would never be one that would say that hate or anger is something that I would say was a great thing, but there was strength in it. There was purpose to it. It had a positive side, which is what I guess I like to look at everything, is that there is a positive side to it. And there has to be, because otherwise why would anyone ever become a Sith, apart from the power side? But powers, I guess, are positive if you use it correctly.
Now, because I don't know whether he did it intentionally or not, but by tapping into all of that despair, all the suffering he'd been through, he is focusing all of his bad things, the things that made him who he is, on that one person, which we know is Sidious, the man that put him in that situation. When you saw him as a kid being taken away from his family, and then torturing him with the Force lightning when he was trying to do stuff, and then, you know, murdered his brother and everything else he's done. It kept him going. It gave him a reason to keep moving, because I think if he didn't have that hatred within him, I think he just would have laid there and died. I just think he just would have given up. But because he's got the Sith anger within him, it's what gave him the strength to keep moving.
So I guess for my question, and for those who have joined us and are online, and for you as well, Paul, is, I already spoke about how I feel. Do you feel as though your liking of Maul has, or understanding of Maul has, increased from watching the show?
Definitely. Because, I mean, we know we got a little bit from seeing him in when he was in Rebels. Got a little bit of that, because you got to see a little, you know, the fact that he actually survived being cut in half, for one thing, shows you that the guy's resilient. Made his own legs, made his own spider legs.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah,
all that stuff. So the guy clearly isn't just going to lay down and die, even if half of him's laying over there. But the fact is, you did sort of your opinions, because when you first saw him, when we first saw him, he was evil. It was like the epitome of evil, wasn't he? The face makeup and the horns and everything. He's like, he's the devil with a lightsaber, isn't he? When we first saw him, he hardly said anything, and he just looked like, had this evil look on his face the whole time, and I'm going to kill the Jedi. That's my sole purpose. And it wasn't until you actually got to hear him speak and talk about his life that you realize this guy isn't just some savage. He's not just like a dog on a leash that you let off and he attacks people. That's not who he is. So now it's definitely a whole softening. The guy's still bad, but the fact is that he's bad. He's not just bad in his nature. Sidious is bad in his nature. It's who he is.
Yeah.
But Maul is not bad in his nature. It's just it's like, you know, when someone has an attack dog, you go, well, it wasn't born an attack dog. You turned it into one.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. You know, he's been bred to be like that. That's what Sidious turned him into, just like he's done just like he did with Anakin. Although Anakin's got a little bit of feral in him from the word go anyway, but I think, I know, that was some twisted thing with the Force somehow or other, because so there was just something he tapped into and played on. So, and that's what he's done with all, and that's what I think with most Sith do when they're looking for a new apprentice. They see something in someone that they can twist.
Which is why Devon is the person who he's aiming for, not only because she has some quite good skills, which you don't realize at the beginning because she doesn't seem to use them. She kind of takes a step back and is very restrained with using the Force in the first few episodes. But the further you go along, you realize she's got some pretty good skills. She's quite strong. And and will also be a little bit impulsive, which I think is one of the key things that you want to find in a Sith apprentice, because the impulse is the thing you can tap into. And she's been impulsive. We saw her jump in and go against the Empire. She didn't have to do that with Maul. She could have done what she eventually did, which was to leave. But nope, she jumped in to help. And at that point, she could have gone, actually, I'm going to join the Empire and attack Maul and be on their side and then get away with. But she also is smart enough to know that then she would also be taken because she's a Jedi and they're not all for her either. So I guess it was strategic and smart of her. But then that's also what the appeal is, that she's smart enough, but she's also impulsive. Got a comment from Dean before you speak. Hang on a second. What have we got? At the time, I thought it was dumb, but bringing more back from death has unlocked some chef's kiss storytelling.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole idea that you can just slice someone clean through the middle of his body and he still lives. What nonsense are we on about here? I mean, it's sort of it's like how we've seen in recent shows how people can get stabbed with a lightsaber and live. And I'm just thinking, Qui-Gon must be going, what?
I know.
You can survive that? No one told me you could survive that. Do you think I would have died if I could have known we could have survived that? Yeah, he must be feeling a bit really annoyed right now because, you know, as we saw, I mean, Sabine got stabbed with a lightsaber and survived, and so did I've forgotten her name, the Inquisitor, Reva. Yeah, she didn't matter to her either. I mean, even the Inquisitor got stabbed too, didn't he? The Sith Inquisitor got stabbed.
I don't like the idea that lots of people can just come back in Star Wars. It bugs me, but in Maul's case, it works. If you can see that he's that strong and that
you know, Dean's did actually work out, because we all knew. I mean, when we first saw Maul, we thought this guy is the coolest character we've seen in Star Wars for a long time, and they bumped him off rather casually at the end of the movie. And I thought, I thought this guy is a seriously cool apprentice. We need him around, and they got rid of him. so bringing him back was a good idea, because there was so much more to this guy than meets the eye, and I'm glad they did.
And we've had some great stories in Clone Wars and Rebels, but you know the storylines have been fantastic, a lot of fun. If you haven't had a chance to see them, please do so, everyone. What about let's pop off Maul for a second. What about Mandalorians? Mandalorians, can you trust them?
Well, clearly from this guy's example, the answer is a very firm no. Because,
or is it the ones you can't trust, the ones that take the helmet off? I don't know.
Yeah. You know, well, I don't know. I mean, that means we can't trust Bo-Katan, because she loves to take her helmet off. She does it all the time. So.
Do we trust Bo-Katan?
I don't know. I mean, I always have this sort of certain mistrust with all Mandalorians. There's something about them, because why is it they all suddenly turn to bounty hunting all the time? Why do they all want to be bounty hunters? What is the obsession with bounty hunting? Yeah, there's just something about, especially in the case of like the Death Watch, well, we're not even going to take our helmets off. I mean, well, there's mistrust if you've ever seen it. we're going to keep our helmets on. It's like, oh, well.
It is a warrior culture, I suppose. So it's a warrior culture. So I guess it's something I'm not used to. But it's interesting, though. They've given it the, I don't think I'm going to follow you. Unlike Rookcast, who was to Maul, you led the Mandalorians. As far as I'm concerned, you are still our leader. I will follow you wherever you go. I feel like I'm about to start singing. And Dean says these are all ex-Death Watch too. And then these guys, though, I feel as though aren't necessarily going, yeah, we want to follow you because you're all the leader of Mandalore. They've just given it, I'll get my credits and go, thanks. And go they did. Oof. In a flash of light. How sad, though. It's a lot of work, and then you're gone. Didn't even get to spend it. That's a sad story.
That's just... the one thing I was curious about, too, is that his second in command is a woman named Rookcast. It's just the name Cast is kind of familiar, because I remember there was long ago there was a Jodo Cast who was supposed to be connected to Boba Fett in some way. I just can't remember exactly how. I know it was in one of the comics or something, because back then we didn't really know who Boba Fett was, and they created this Justa Mariel character, and that all got scrubbed when George decided to bring him into the other things with Jango Fett and so on, and that changed everything there. But this Jodo Cast was another name that popped up, and I saw that when I heard her name was Cast, I thought, is that actually, are they connecting her to some clan or something? Is there some connection there? But I don't know.
Would make sense.
It's just a familiar name. Need to look that up, I think.
One of the other characters who I am intrigued by is this one. He, but Vario is. Have you ever seen the Mulan cartoon movie?
No, I haven't.
The Disney Mulan. Oh, okay, well, let me tell you. I'll give you a really brief rundown of the characters, the main characters in this. You've got Mulan, who's the chick who's pretending to be a guy so she can go off instead of her dad to war. So her dad doesn't die because the Huns are attacking the Chinese. Along on her trip, she takes her little dragon, Mushu, and he's supposed to protect her while she's off. But along with Mushu comes a little cricket. And the cricket apparently is supposed to be lucky. So it's called a lucky cricket, but he's not actually really lucky. And there's a big play on it. But this guy, Vario, to me, reminds me of the lucky cricket. He has just survived so much that, and talks his way out of things. And I don't know how he hasn't died, because he's a little annoying fellow, but he survived. I'm just impressed with his survival skills.
Yeah, because when you first saw him, you thought, oh, this guy's going to end up they're going to get rid of him pretty quick, smart. Yeah, and he's still hanging around. But not only that, but as they said, when they went to the hideout, they all went, oh, isn't this such and such's place? I've forgotten his name. And he said, oh, I killed him. Yeah. Everyone's going, you did what? He went, yeah. I went, you, little dude, you look like a skinned Ewok. You've he went, yeah, killed him. So it's like, yeah, be careful. This guy is far more powerful than first impressions would indicate. You just don't get that from him. But yeah, because he seems like he's almost like a bit of a comic relief character. But the guy is he's cluey. He knows what's going on,
and he's connected to all of the syndicate.
Yeah.
So that is why I believe he's also survived, because this is what Maul is doing. Maul is moving these pieces around the chessboard. And Vario is the little pawn that's helping that to take place.
And of course, in order to make sure that he lives longer than a minute, he is doing everything he can to help move the chess pieces in any way he can.
And I don't believe at all that he does that. I believe that he knows he's in a cage. He every day is trying to push the walls out further. Yeah. And Dean says, like the Dryden Voss name drop. I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was very excited. Like, yes, this is how we get to the end of the Solo movie, and it will finally make sense.
if Maul's going to end up being the boss of Crimson Dawn, then he has to eventually meet Dryden Voss, doesn't he? Yeah.
Do we get to see Dryden Voss in season 2?
Well, it's interesting. It's quite possible. Oh, they've confirmed that there's a season 2, is it? Because one of the things I was going to say about what we just watched is that with only 2 episodes to go, this story is not finishing anytime soon. And so now that we know that there's a season 2, well, then okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah. So, yeah, well, and people are suggesting is, because it would be interesting if they could actually drag back Paul Bettany to at least to voice the character too. That'd be very cool.
So, other characters, other side characters who I'd wondered about. So we had kind of surmised a few episodes back what was going to be the point of the son of Lawson. Also, didn't dawn on me until today either that Lawson is the cop's name. But anyway, so he's son of the law being police. Anyway,
I didn't even think about that. And you went, oh yeah, that makes sense. He's Law's son. He's the son of the law. Yeah.
Anyway.
That's how those names came into being. It's how all those names were created. I mean, if you were the son of a law person, you were a law son. That's how the names got created. So there you go.
Yeah,
it happens in the Star Wars universe as well. It's everywhere.
Well, it seems to be. Anyway, so Lawson's son.
Yes.
We had speculated what was the point of why do we know about Riley? Why is he important? And I had thought he was going to be kidnapped by Maul, and I was wrong. Instead, he's going to be caught by the Imperials, and that is going to be the thing that becomes a bit of a problem for him. Yeah. I found it interesting that he got interrogated. They really like their interrogation, the Imperials, and they like to use their Inquisitors to do it.
And what was it about Marok's interrogation that wasn't good enough that they had to swap and get the Crow to do it?
Well, maybe he was doing someone else that was more important they wanted to get rid of. Maybe they're both busy that day doing interrogations. But no, I agree. Why wasn't Marek? He did the first one. Why couldn't we get him to do the second one? Or is Marek better at it, and so they put him with someone more important, and they thought Riley was not important? So they just sent the old Crow in there and went, here, give it a go, give it your best shot. What do you got?
Well, maybe it was just, he might have said, you do them all the time, give me a go.
Yeah, maybe.
I think I could. I mean, I'm pretty scary looking.
Let me psychologically traumatize someone. Give me a shot at it. I want to say it.
I've got the glowy eyes and the beaky face and everything. It's kind of freaky looking.
I have an issue with the Empire. I mean, as if they're real, but I have an issue with the Empire hating on the Jedi, but using the Inquisitors to interrogate people. It's like you either like people that use the Force or you don't. Don't be just using it when you want to and killing when you want to. That's just not right. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, why aren't the Sith following the rules?
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, I'm all for the rules.
I'm pretty sure
they're
they've got a Sith. There's a Sith handbook. You can actually get one. Like in a little holocron thing. You pop it open and it's got a little menu in there, and it's like flip to the index at the back and look up. It's a book full of rules, and they just go, not reading that.
There was one part though that did make me laugh with Riley was when they were in the first of these 2 episodes. They were following. Devon and Riley were following Maul just after the Inquisitor had been shooked off in the tunnels, and he's like, "Are you going to follow me?" And they're walking through some sewers, and the comment is about the boy, and he's like, "The boy."
Mm-hmm.
I love that because he's like, "Not a boy." He's like, he's a teenager.
I'm not a boy. Haven't you seen me play that racquetball thingy game?
Yeah, I'm not a boy.
Was it Budokan or something? Budokan.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Sounds like a Japanese one.
Yeah.
It's like that, the lacrosse, that they
Yes.
play in America with the net thing on the end of a stick. That's what it's like. But it's one of those scoopy things on the end of a stick that they used to. I remember they used to have this thing you'd use for throwing a tennis ball, and you'd put it in this hoop thing, and you'd fling it, and it was a toy that came out long ago, and that's what they actually used. You see one hanging up in Anakin's house on the wall. It was the same sort of thing, and I think they just bunged a stick on the end of it and went, "Hey, let's turn this into a game." But that's what they did. That's what it looks like. Could be completely wrong.
Dean made a comment about what we're talking about, the Empire not following the rules. That's base fascism.
Yeah, these fascists and their not following the rules stuff. Yeah, it's so annoying.
What about? I can't remember her name. Isn't that terrible? Dean, you're on here with us. Do you know this person's name, Paul? Do you know her name?
Yeah, I've forgotten. It started with R, didn't it? Was it like Rena?
Actually, no.
Rena or something? I think it was like Rena or something like that.
Maybe. I'm calling her Bounty Hunter Casino Owner.
I call it Purple Lady.
Purple Lady.
Yes.
Purple Lady's shorter than Bounty
Hunter.
Hunter.
If there was an action figure of it back in the 70s, that's what she would have been called. If they released back in the 70s Star Wars action figure, she would have been Purple Lady, because that's what they named them, like Squid Head or Hammerhead or something. She would have been Purple Lady.
She's never got purple eyes or pink, whatever color that. They match her jacket. Like she dressed with her eyes matching her jacket on this particular day. Although on every particular day, she doesn't seem to change her clothes.
Oh, that's kind of typical. I always find it funny in shows how people always wear the same outfits every day. Unless like Batman, they've got a wardrobe full of them. It's got like 30 different outfits, and they wear the same outfit, but there's 30 versions of it, and they just put a new one on each day. It's probably what
I like to think that's what it is, because we also don't see them using the laundry or clothes hanging out to dry or laundry mats anywhere. Like you don't see that. So I like to think they just have up-team suits. Or maybe because there's a galaxy far, far away, they have self-cleaning costumes too.
Oh, that's a good point. Self-cleaning. Yeah, possible. And of course, probably one of their Jedi powers is force cleaning. So a bit like, because when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan swam to they got out of the water and they were soaking wet, and 5 minutes later they were bone dry. So I just think they went force dry, and I don't know, like it's one of those special powers that dries all their clothes and washes them at the same time. So that's why you can wear your Jedi robes, Sith robes for 20 years, and they still look like they're brand new.
Yes. No wear and tear. Okay, so we've established there is force drying and force cleaning. So that's fantastic.
It's probably force washing. You can probably wash them too. Force washing, it probably does all that. Cleaning, drying, all of it. Everything.
Force also, you don't really. One of the things I remember people talking about in the past was not seeing toilets in Star Wars, but you do see them now. You see the refresher, like on the Razor Crest had one, and in some of the games there's a toilet. There's a Star Wars toilet, but you don't often see that, and you don't hear anyone go, "Just got to go to the bathroom," or "I'm just going to go and shower and get dressed." I imagine Lando probably has a shower, but I don't know if anyone else does.
Yeah, they don't have them in the Star Wars universe. I know they definitely have them showers. At least they definitely have in the Star Trek universe, because they talk about what type of shower is it? I can't remember. It's a certain type of shower it's a shower but not a shower. So it's like it does the work of a shower, but I don't think you get wet.
Thanks for joining us, Dean. See ya.
We were talking about Maul, weren't we? We're just way off track. We got derailed 10 minutes ago. Sorry about that, everyone. Thanks for hanging around, Dean.
I think we need to
left. Everyone's gone. It's just us two here now. Nobody
Some
else.
people don't start putting comments, and we're going to keep getting derailed. Okay, my next thing that happy May 4th back right at you, Dean. Hope you have a nice Star Wars day on Monday. Okay, this scene is when she steals the car. I have lots of questions about Devon and Devon's ability to take people out. We didn't even see her do it, and then commandeer their vehicle, and then the amount of collateral damage that they do through the town as they're getting away.
Yep.
I guess that's kind of why there's the appeal for Maul.
Yeah, because you think, okay, these three people, they weren't bad people, at least as far as we know. The bloke that was there outside the car and the two that were in it, we don't even know if they were bad people or not. She just turned up and went, I'm taking your car. And the next thing you know, all three of them are laying there supposedly unconscious, but we don't know. They could be dead. And then she nicks off with their car. So I'm thinking, that makes you Sith material.
Yes. That's why Maul wants her.
Yeah.
I don't know how long she's going to last.
Yeah.
Oh, someone had said, we got Star Wars GTA before we got GTA 6.
Yeah, it was because she took that detour, but was driving off the railing and landing it on the platform down below, and just kept on going, sort of Knight Rider style, where the car should have been smashed to pieces, but just keeps on driving.
Yes. Or Dukes of Hazzard, even.
Dukes of Hazzard, exactly. Because
and for everyone who's too young to know Dukes of Hazzard, go and watch it.
We're talking about the early 80s here. It's like, but I still remember, just as for a bit of nostalgia, there was an episode of Knight Rider where he hit the turbo boost and the car jumped over this jump and it's gone up like this, and then it went down and there's the ground and it's going like that. Right? What happens to any car when it's going like that? The nose ends up behind the back of your head, right? That's where the nose of the car should be. But then cut away and you see this, and he bounces in his seat and keeps on going. Well, I can see why Kit's worth so much money now, because it's just unbreakable.
It's worth that much money because they had to have
every episode. They used to
they had to buy new. Yeah, exactly. I had to buy a new car every episode. Yeah.
It was like half a dozen. The same thing with Dukes of Hazzard. They used to ruin those cars, absolutely ruin them. Yeah, because you can't land a car on its nose and expect it to. They don't. Anyway.
And back in the 80s. No, but back in the 80s when they were doing those jumps, even the Dukes of Hazzard jumps, they didn't have the suspension like they do these days. But that would be like those stunt people. That would be jarring your bones. Oh,
they're insane. They were crazy.
Yeah.
You had to be crazy.
Yeah.
You still have to be crazy.
Back to Maul.
Is this what we're talking
about? Apparently we're here to talk about Maul.
These two episodes that definitely, it's not like it's diminished in its quality in any way, the last two episodes. So if anything, I think it's probably even improved. So yeah, I'm still on a solid 8.5-ish, I think.
Me too.
Still a solid score, I reckon.
Me too. And it gets the score of I didn't take my eyes off the screen. I didn't look at my phone. And I went and got popcorn and just sat there eating my popcorn, not even looking at my bag, just enjoying. It's quite fun. I started out the first two episodes. I was not thinking I was going to enjoy the ride, but I really am enjoying the ride. It's been great. I can't wait till Monday to see, what are the next two. Before I say that, it's the finale for the season.
You need a cliffhanger. There has to be some sort of cliffhanger.
There will be.
Yeah.
But
it could literally
be. It's gonna drop on Monday, which is May the 4th, which is kind of cool. But inevitably, most people will be out doing trivia or some May the 4th activity, and I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about it next weekend.
Well, I think there's enough time in the day to be able to slot it in somewhere. I'm not one for watching something as soon as it comes out, but like I actually watched Maul last night just so I'd be more fresh in my mind for today. So yeah, it will be done.
I watched even later.
It's still that thing though. The show is still a very slow burny thing. So when I actually heard rumors that there was going to be a second season, I went, fair enough. Okay. Because I thought if you're trying to pack this all into 10 episodes, those last 2 are going to be overflowing. But yeah, it makes sense now because it's not going to finish there.
No.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to wait a while before we get the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely next year sometime, I would imagine.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap this up. If only Dean's the only one I think to have let us know that they're here. There's other people watching, so hi. But we're going to head off in a second. If you are a Star Walking member, you can join us for another session shortly on Google Meet. If you're a member, it will be in your team app. If not, send us a quick message and I'll be able to send you a link. That's to the Star Walking page. And otherwise, if you aren't a member, you can become a member. May the 4th, which is Monday, is our membership drive. And I think I'll just spend a second talking about that before we disappear. So to become a member, it's $10 a year. What do you get? You get access to our online meetups, but also our face-to-face, which is tomorrow for us in New South Wales. So we're going to be doing a meeting in New South Wales. Also, you get our newsletter, which should come out shortly. We do those quarterly, and it's jam-packed full of really interesting stuff that often I read and go, oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. And I think our editor should share information with me that I can put up on a page, but we're not going to because that's just for members to know. What else do you get? You get access to lucky door prizes and other raffles that are just for members. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you get. But this year we also have, and I don't have one handy on me, but we have the coin. So what is that? Is that your coin?
Yeah, I'm just hoping someone will digitally add one in.
Later on. See this beautiful coin that I'm holding here?
I'm actually sitting in front of the volume right now, and I'm hoping at some point someone will add one in.
It's in the mail. They are on their way. They are our Maul Snake, Red Belly
Very cool
coins.
Very cool.
But membership this year, we have an option where you can, it's $10 a year for membership generally, but for $20, you get a coin. So, and all the other bits and pieces, and that's an option. So if that's what you're interested in, then by all means go to our webpage and have a look and sign on up, because we would love you to become a member, and we'd love you to join our latest session, which starts in 2 minutes. So we're going to head on out here so I can go and start that session. May the Force be with you. Thank you, Paul, for joining. I really appreciate it. It was fun again.
May the Force be with you all.